Alrighty, welcome back to episode 137 of Two Drunk Brothers in a Podcast, presented by the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. Got a guest coming on today's show. We're going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and what is it time to panic for Chiefs fans. We also got our first bye week of the NFL this week, week 6. There's 4 teams on a bye, so first bye week, teams start to panic, where fantasy managers start to panic about who they're going to sit, who they're going to start. Give you a little bit of a sit stardom. But let's kick off the show with an idea that Travis had with some contenders and pretenders. And I thought we could do this for both the NFL and college football because I think it's kind of both. I mean, you can look at the standings right now in the NFL and be like, that team shouldn't be this record. They're not going to make it. And same thing with college. You can look at the rankings and do the same thing.
So we're going to kick off first with NFL.
Let's go with college first.
College first, fresh, not the non-freshest in our memories since Saturday. All right.
Georgia unanimous number 1. I would say that's probably a lock.
I honestly don't see who's going to take down Georgia.
No.
Everyone, even myself, questioned their offense like at the beginning of the year after the first couple games because that's what they were last year. Their defense was amazing. Their offense was meh. Not the case. I think that they're the best of the best.
I absolutely do as well. If I look at the top 5, I mean, obviously those 5 teams, Cincinnati, I'm not going to call them a pretender. I think they deserve a shot at the playoff. They did their job. They've won the games they needed to win. They beat Notre Dame. They beat Indiana. You know, they scheduled those big Power 5 matchups in their non-con because they play in a weaker conference. So as long as they coast out and they can win out, I think they deserve a shot there. They don't have a shot at the championship, though.
They don't. But I don't think they'll drop. I don't think it's possible for them to drop in the standings if they win out.
I don't think so either. I actually do think Oklahoma is a pretender. I really do. Oklahoma's
even with Caleb Williams,
they let up how many fucking points to Texas on Saturday?
They did let up a lot, but I think I'm assuming Spencer Rattler era is over with.
For all you people who put a future on Spencer Rattler to win the Heisman, might as well light that ticket on fire.
Yeah, just count that as a loss. You almost have to roll with him moving forward, and if that's the case, I think he puts them in a much better chance for their offense to be on the field more. So we'll see. I'm not going to call them pretender yet, just because I want to see. But I mean, then again, their next matchups are TCU, Kansas, and Texas Tech. So,
okay. I still think Alabama's a contender despite their loss to Texas A&M. They lost way too early in the year. They'll find a way to squeak back in there. But the problem is they'll have to play Georgia in the SEC championship game at the end of the year, and I do not see them beating Georgia. So,
I don't think so either. I mean, I'm not going to call them a pretender because they're Alabama, but I do think that with the way things are going for them, that there might be another loss in their schedule.
Yeah, their defense really is struggling right now, so they still probably have to play Auburn. That's a losable game, I guess.
It is at home, but we'll see what Tennessee does this weekend. But they look pretty good too.
Yeah, Tennessee does look really, really good right now. But then you look at the Big Ten, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4 teams in the top 10. Iowa's number 2, Ohio State's number 6, who I think is the worst of the 4. And then, they got 5. They got Penn State at 7, Michigan at 8, and Michigan State at 10.
Yeah, and you still have. I mean, I absolutely think Ohio State is a pretender.
Mm-hmm.
Not a big fan of their quarterback. Not a big fan of what they're able to do on offense, given the fact that they have outscored their opponents by like 1,000 the last few weeks. But whenever it comes to playing good competition, they struggle, and that's going to continue to be the case. I think. I think they have a bye this week, though.
Yeah, Ohio State is the kings of playing down to their opponent, and you absolutely cannot do that in college football. Honestly, out of those teams, who I really like a lot is Michigan State. I've been high on Michigan State all year long. They have a good running game. Kenneth Walker III is a stud. I think besides Iowa, they're the next Big Ten team, in my opinion, that poses a threat to crack that top 4. Long way to go. They're 6-0, though.
I don't know, though. We'll see, because I think I think Michigan's a very, very solid team. Then they play each other on Halloween weekend.
So we're gonna have some fire Big Ten matchups coming up. Iowa and Penn State obviously already play each other. Has Ohio State played any? Ohio State's 5-1. Who did they lose to?
They lost to Oregon.
Okay, they lost to Oregon, so they haven't even gone through their gauntlet of the Big Ten schedule yet. They probably still have to play Penn State.
They have to play Penn State, Michigan State, and Michigan.
That's amazing. They have 3 top 10 matches in the future. Now, if they win 2 out of those 3, I'll call Ohio State a contender. But with 2 losses at that point, it's kind of hard. You have to go 3-0.
It's going to be tough. And then Penn State, on the other hand, I'm not sure what you're wanting to call them. They still have Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State.
Yeah,
so those 3 matchups. The matchups between those 3 schools are going to be phenomenal to end the year, and they're really going to shake things up in the playoff and bowl game scenario.
Who does Iowa have? I'm sure Iowa has to play some of those teams too.
Iowa has got no ranked teams. Purdue, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Minnesota, Illinois, Nebraska. They will finish 12-0.
They will. So then you're looking at, I forget, I don't know, I can't remember how the Big Ten divisions line up, but they'll probably have to play one of these other teams: Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State.
They will play. They're in the very, very weak side. Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, and Penn State are all in the same.
Man, they're gonna
Iowa's in one with nobody.
They're gonna beat each other up because then you look at, like I said, Michigan State and Michigan are both 6-0. Penn State and Ohio State are both 5-1. Ohio State's undefeated in Big Ten play. Some contenders and pretenders. I'm going to go ahead and call Oregon's out. Oregon's a pretender. There's no Pac-12 is not going to make it. They had a shot
for you.
Yeah.
Scenario. What happens? Iowa does finish out the season, goes 12-0, lose the Big Ten championship. Are they in?
Depends on what the SEC looks like. If Alabama goes to the SEC championship game and Alabama beats Georgia, and you have Alabama and Georgia sitting at 12-1 too, I mean, what do you do there?
What do you do?
Yeah, unfortunately you do. You do. I mean, you have to. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the most logical choice. But that's it. I mean, we really don't need to go outside the top 10. Actually, maybe Kentucky.
No, pretenders, 1,000%.
Think
so?
They're
riding the heater. They're about to get fucking smacked this week.
We're about to find out. We'll talk about that on Degenerates Digest. Actually, no, we won't because.
You can throw it in there. I have a couple college picks I'm gonna throw in there.
Okay, but anyway, I mean, I feel like everyone's gonna be hammering, so I don't know. Kentucky plus 23.5.
I'll stay away from it. I've seen what Georgia can do. If anything in that game, I like the under because both defenses have been solid this year.
But the under is 44.5, which is low.
It is low, but Georgia's averaging they're allowing 8 points a game or something crazy like that this year.
5.5.
It's stupid. It's dumb.
5.5.
It's dumb, bro. The under, I'm telling you. If there's anything I'm betting that game, it's the under.
But they both score in the 30s, so it's
yeah, but who's Kentucky play?
I hate betting unders in college football because of the way the clock works.
That's true. So we'll talk more about that in Degenerates Digest. Let's roll into Contenders Pretenders in the NFL. You look at the standings. I mean, got a lot of teams that are up there that I think should not be. Their record is not indicative of how good or bad they are. One of those teams for me, I think a giant pretender, and I said it at the beginning of the season, and I'm going to keep writing it. I'm still think my under on their season total wins is going to hit, and that's the Carolina Panthers.
I'm a little nervous on the under on the win total, but they did show this past weekend just how bad they really were. Sam Darnold finally
5 picks in the last 2 weeks.
Finally showing his true colors. And against the Cowboys and Eagles, who aren't really known to have great defenses. I know the Cowboys and Trayvon Diggs have been tearing it up, but Eagles, they had all the opportunity in the world to put that game away, and they couldn't do it because Sam Darnold can't throw the ball. The only thing that helps is that they literally have probably one of the easiest schedules in the NFL, if not the easiest. I'm not even looking at a ranking, but they have the Vikings, Giants, Falcons. So easy games. Patriots, which is semi-tough. Cardinals, Washington football team, Dolphins, Falcons. I mean, that's so easy. But then they finish out with a gauntlet.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I still think they're pretenders, 1,000%.
Oh, I do too. But team season total under, I don't know.
Yeah, that might be tough. Do you have another pretender that you want to throw out there? I have one that's at the top of their division.
Oh, do you?
Yep.
The Baltimore Ravens.
It is the Baltimore Ravens. They should be 2-3. They should have lost to the Chiefs. They should have lost to the
lost the Colts last night.
They start games too slow. They let teams hang around that they shouldn't let hang around, and they don't step on the gas until the fourth quarter. Cannot do that against good teams. So I think the Baltimore Ravens are a pretender. I don't think they win their division. I think Cleveland is still going to be in the driver's seat to win that thing.
All right. Your mouth is not syncing up with your words. I don't know if it's just my computer.
It's got to be your computer.
Oh my gosh. It's like when you see it on TV, even on mine, like I'm literally talking, looking at my lips.
Yeah.
I'm not syncing that. Dude, I'm about to fucking punch my damn computer. I'm having computer issues and I'm using the backup one. I was smashing my headphones on the desk and my wife texted me from upstairs. Are you breaking my computer? No, I'm breaking my headphones. Yeah, I like the Ravens. They're contender. I actually think finally the Buffalo Bills are a contender. Previously, Josh Allen, we didn't trust him in the playoffs. He is really making that next step to becoming one of, if not the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, I mean their point differential is insane. It's plus 108. And to put that in the reference for you, the next best team is the Arizona Cardinals at plus 62. So their point differential is just bananas, off the charts. I mean, they're amazing.
Their defense is insane.
Yeah.
It only complements their offense. We'll talk about it a little bit more whenever we bring on Cyrus for the little recap of kind of the game last night and talk about the Chiefs. But yeah, they are 100% legit. It also doesn't help that I think they're in the worst conference in the NFL right now.
Oh, I mean division, not a conference.
Yeah, sorry, division.
Yeah, it's terrible. The AFC East is terrible. Let's not talk about that too much because it's gonna make me depressed.
You want to know? I have a pretender for you.
Yeah,
and it's one you might call me crazy. Not because I do think they'll go to the playoffs and they'll be decent, but it's Tennessee Titans.
Oh yeah, 100%. They play. Talk about playing down to your opponents. They're the kings of that.
And their defense is horrible. This Monday night matchup we have this week really scares me on the betting side because I know that the team the Titans can be, but I know what the Titans are right now, and it's not a team that I want to be betting for against good teams.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same way. I definitely think that the Titans they're obviously they're going to make the playoffs because their division is absolutely atrocious. But outside of that, you really look at some things and you're like, man, like, is this team set up for success? I think they're set up for a first round bounce in the playoffs. But
yeah,
I mean, that's a good one. So contender wise, we have the Bills. We've thrown out a bunch of pretenders.
How about the Chargers?
Chargers are legit, man.
I think they are real, and it's kind of crazy the difference in what
head coach,
what's his name, Staley,
brought
over Anthony Lynn. Wild.
So it's so think about that then. Like, put yourself in the shoes of, say, I'm trying to think of a team that's like got a lot of young talent right now. Hate to say it, the Miami Dolphins.
Brian Flores holding that team back?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Flores backer. I don't think it's him at all. But man, it's just tough to really kind of, like you said, it's crazy how big of a change a head coach makes.
Because they really didn't have many changes on the offensive side of the ball. Had a few on the defensive side, but it's very, very similar team to what they were last year. 4-1. They're in the driver's seat to that division. I mean, call me crazy through 5 games of the season, but that division is theirs to lose right now.
It really is. It really is. Which, speaking of which, it's a good segue right now. we're going to bring in our guest on the show,
Oh boy,
Cyrus.
here he is.
There he is. What's going on,
What up,
Cyrus?
guys?
Cyrus,
So
what do you before we get going? Are you sipping on anything tonight?
Nah, I got nothing tonight. Sober Tuesdays here.
Do you know what you're on?
I am aware. I had more than enough over the weekend. We had a 4-day weekend, and with Mizzou playing Saturday and the Chiefs playing Sunday night, I had more than my fill.
Oh,
Yeah,
I forgot. You had a 4-day weekend because you work for the state.
State per state.
You got off. You get off every holiday under the book. So anyway, Cyrus, welcome on to the say hi to the YouTube channel. Not sure how many people look at our faces when we talk, but
In my ugly right now.
those of you who knew, Cyrus is on here. He's been on here a handful. All right, so we're cutting back in here. Cyrus, if you haven't seen him before, he has been on the podcast a handful of times. Probably not anytime in the recent future or recent past, but he is a longtime Chiefs fan, diehard. Been with them through the thick and thin of it when they were bad. So somebody we can get on here who's not going to be biased. He's not blinded by how terrible they've been this season.
No, we've seen Brody Croyle and Tyler Thigpen and Brady Quinn. I mean, you name it, we've seen the shit quarterback. So
yeah, I remember that year. Yeah, we were roommates in college, and they went, was it 2-14?
Yeah, where's my flag at? Yeah, we waved that flag after they went 2-14.
Yeah,
But then it's those were some darker days, but hopefully we're not resorting back to that.
All right, so to kick things off, we know obviously your hopes are probably a little bit down. Like you almost have to be. But whenever they lost their first game, you're like, yeah, whatever, nothing to worry about. Second game, you're like, okay, we'll turn it around. You're 2-3. Have you pressed the panic button a little bit?
I'm gonna say on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being nah, we're totally fine, everything's good, to 10 being we need to start looking at firing some coaches. I'm probably at about a 4 right now.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm
that low.
A mild panic right now.
So you don't think that the defensive coordinator needs to go?
I'm not calling for Spags' head just yet. I'm not going to let him off the hook either because we are up there. I think Seattle probably has a worse defense than us statistically right now. But, I mean, other than that, that's the bulk of why we're losing a lot of these games. I will say, however, in their defense, throw a couple stats out here for you. We are second in the league in turnovers. We have a -7 turnover margin. The only team worse than us right now is the Jacksonville Jaguars. We know how their record is. So the turnovers aren't helping things. Also, I think our strength of schedule is pretty tough here, these opening 5 games. I mean, we've lost to 3 pretty good teams.
I mean, what, Chargers, Ravens, and
Baltimore is tough.
Yeah.
The Chargers are a legit contender now. And, of course, Buffalo, I mean, that's probably your AFC favorite
Champion.
right now.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
those are 3 solid teams. So I'm not going to discredit any of those losses, but
those 3 teams are combined 12-3 right now. So
exactly. Yeah.
It's easy to say that it's been a tough start, but you have played some good teams and you do have some pretty favorable matchups coming up. I will say that the schedule overall though is kind of tough.
It is. The next 3 games I think are going to be a really telltale sign of how we should look at the Chiefs moving forward here. I mean, you play the Washington football team, Tennessee Titans, and New York Giants. If you lose any of those games, that 4 panic I said, that's immediately going to be raised to
really,
6, maybe even a 7.
Even if you lose to Tennessee?
I don't think Tennessee's very good this year. I'm down on them.
The only problem is the defense because with most things, it's like, oh, like our offense can score enough. But with the Chiefs this year, it's like whoever can get more stops is going to win. And I don't think the Chiefs can stop them if they need to.
Another big thing that I've noticed this year is teams are not afraid to go for it on 4th down against us. We've already had 8 4th down attempts against us, and we've let up 6 first downs. So we are allowing 75% completion on 4th down conversions. So you start getting in a trend like that, you can't stop these drives when you need them to. That's really hurt us this year.
To answer or to solidify your statement earlier, yes, the Kansas City defense is 31st in the league, only above Seattle, but you're allowing 437 yards per game. That's like some college football numbers right there.
It is, yeah. The passing I think is pretty on par with the rest of the league. It's just under 300 yards per game, but I think we're letting up like 140 rushes per game, somewhere in that ballpark, and that's what scares me. If you can't stop the run, if you're letting these teams crank and churn the clock and eat up these, long drives, and that takes away time of possession from our offense.
I think that'll be
all year.
I think that's going to be cut down when Frank Clark comes back.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys are missing Frank Clark right now.
But the secondary's just got holes all over.
It's horrible. We also didn't have Chris Jones against the Bills. Not that really mattered, but so the linebackers just aren't really getting the pressure and filling the gaps like we need them to. So
that's what I was saying. Like the pass rush when I was watching the Sunday night, just was non-existent. And also, Josh Allen was really good about getting the ball out quick. I think Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen did that both really, really well against the Chiefs. They got the ball out quick, and they're both elusive quarterbacks. So any pass rush that came in could avoid it. I would almost argue
nailed
that Sunday night's game, you could almost blame it more on the offense than you can on the defense.
Oh, absolutely.
They failed to capitalize on so many opportunities. Like, and not to say, like, no offense, like, I don't think they were ever really in it. The Bills were just doing whatever they wanted, but turn around, like, normally – when the Chiefs set up a 75-yard touchdown pass or however long those ones to Dawson Knox and the other kid were, you're like, oh, it's the Chiefs. They can come back on the field and they can score in an instant.
Just run the touchdown play.
The touchdown play,
yeah.
Like,
every time, yeah. And, Mahomes, he missed several passes that he should have made. I think there was one that early on to Kelsey. I mean, he just blatantly overthrew him. I mean, that would have been a huge pickup right there. Just the routine plays that I at least I think have taken for granted. Like, you always think Mahomes is going to make that play. And when he's off just the slightest bit, I mean, it really affects the whole offense. And that's what happened on Sunday night.
I mean, something's just seemed off like all year. Like, don't get me like Patrick Mahomes having a great year. I believe he's the number one fantasy quarterback in most leagues and most formats. But like, just something is off. Like, they're not scoring at will like they used to.
I think it's a run game. I think it's a run game.
He's got fantasy. Think of how many, Tyreek's had a couple of really big games. Take those giant games that Tyreek's had away. He's probably not a top 5 quarterback.
Probably not.
I think it's a run game. Like your guys' lack of a run game is really.
It's just never even established. Like, it's not even the fact that the running backs aren't good enough. They just don't try to run it hardly ever.
Yeah, Edwards-Helaire, he's had a couple 100-yard games, which, of course, he got hurt on Sunday, too. We can't rely on the big chunk plays. So going back to when the Chiefs sucked back in the early to mid-2000s when we had Jamal Charles, that dude was just notorious for breaking. I mean, he could just take off for 75 yards anytime. And with Edwards-Helaire and the rest of the running back company that we've got now, we don't get that. So it's not that we have a poor running game. It's just we don't have an explosive running game that I think would take us to the next level.
That's fair enough.
Fair enough.
You
were mentioning how Josh Allen was elusive and was kind of avoiding, pretty much anything and everything behind the pocket. You know who else is elusive and who they're going up against this weekend? It's Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, that could give us problems too.
Do you think
across Lamar and Josh Allen now? I would hope on our third kind of elusive running back we'd figure out a game plan here, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
So the Chiefs are 1-5 against the spread. It is currently Chiefs -7 on the road. What do you like in that game?
What's the over under?
The over under is 55.5.
Oof.
I need to dive into like what Andy Reid is and what this team is coming off a loss, but I love the Chiefs personally.
Yeah,
team coming off a loss this year, not great because they didn't cover. Or actually, no, they came off a loss against the Chargers. Their only cover is against the Eagles, but it's the Eagles, and they still almost choked that away.
They did, yeah. I think I can't remember what the spread was on that. It was about a touchdown too, I think, and
yeah, it was like 6.5, and they won by
somewhere in there.
12.
My heart wants to say go with Chiefs -7 on this. If anything, I think it'll be a push. I think they have to win by a touchdown in that game.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think this is going to be a game where you can't really afford to have Washington hang around on the road. Like, if you're going to win, go out there and stomp on their throats and put them away early and often.
Don't let off the gas, just like you did in Philly.
Yep.
All right. And then there's already a line out for the following game too. So we'll sprinkle in a little bit of that. Kansas City -3 on the road at Tennessee.
Ooh, I like that better. I'd rather take -3 at Tennessee than -7 at Washington football team.
I would almost agree with that because Washington actually has a semi-decent defense. Tennessee can't stop a damn thing.
Joe, what did we say about that little slim margin road favorite?
Yeah, you're right. I know. I said to avoid them, but I just don't know. Like Kansas City's. I mean, you feel like you got to feel like Kansas City's going to turn on at some point. Like you really do.
But that's what and that's the thing everyone's been saying. And we follow a lot of Chiefs fans, obviously here in Missouri, and everyone's like, "Oh, not worried. Like not worried. It is what it is." But it's like you're 2-3, bottom of the division, going into week 6. You got to start worrying at some point.
There's the mild panic there.
The 4 out of 10 is not enough panic for me. I need more than that right now.
Like I said, if we lose one of these next 3 games, bump me up to a 6.
So you have to go 3-0. You have to go 3-0 over the next 3 weeks, and you'd be back at 5-3, and you'd be okay.
And I think we're at least in contention to be back in the division title conversation again. Yes.
I just had some crazy deja vu because I feel like I've asked this question before. Do you feel like the Chargers are catchable?
Yeah, I think so. I don't have their schedule in front of me. What's their record right now? 4-1.
4-1. You guys are 2 games back.
Yeah,
So
I mean, we have to win at LA.
Yep, you have to make it up against them.
They're going to drop a couple games here and there.
But their schedule, well, let's run through their schedule real quick, okay?
All
right. At the Ravens.
That could be a loss.
That's one of those games that I need them to lose.
This weekend. There's a big tell-all game.
Preview. That's my upset of the week, by the way, because they're +3 dogs. I like a money line against the Ravens.
All right. There
you go. Happen.
Home against the Patriots. That's a win.
Should be.
Yeah.
At the Eagles. That's a win.
Should be. Absolutely.
Home against the Vikings. That's a win.
Ooh, I don't know. Yeah.
Their defense is solid.
Yeah, it's true.
Home against the Steelers.
That could be a loss.
They've got to have a loss in there somewhere.
Let's say right now 2 more losses. Right, add it on.
I'm good with that.
At Broncos, I think
that's
Broncos.
I need them right now. Now we're tied if we go on our 3-0 stint right here.
But they have the tiebreaker though.
Currently,
right?
Yeah.
At the Broncos.
Broncos suck. Yeah.
At the Bengals.
Should be a win.
Home against the Giants. Home against the Chiefs.
That's going to be your money game, right?
So let's say 3 more. Let's say the Chiefs get that one. But then they got at Texans. Home against the Broncos, at Raiders. Like they could very well be a 14-3 team. 15-4. Or fuck me. 13-4.
You had it. You had it right.
I think 12-5, 13-4. That's well within the realm of possibility, and that's probably where they're going to end up.
Man, it's going to come down to the wire. Like that. What is that? What week do they play? Does Kansas City play in LA?
They play in LA. What is that?
Like week 13 or something?
15. Well, technically, you got to think there's 18 weeks.
So is that like early? Is that an early December game? Is that what that is?
December 16th.
That'd be fun. That'd be a good one.
Good.
That'll be the time when
that's a primetime game too. By the way, I don't remember when it is.
Well, I'll say if not, they can start flexing things out like week 13. I think is when they can start flexing Sunday night games out. So this should be a good one. But Cyrus with a mile 4 panic. All right, before we let you get out of here, Cyrus, and get back to what you were doing, give us a pick you like this weekend a lot.
Have you looked? I know the one he's going to give us because it's going to be probably my lock.
You already know what I'm going to give you here.
Texas A&M -8.5.
I got him at -8, so screw you all for being late on that one. But yes, that is my mortal lock of the month, year probably. If Jarrett's
year, are you going your max bet that you would ever feel comfortable betting on Texas A&M?
Already did it.
That's the faith right there. We are Mizzou people through and through, and we are mortal locking A&M.
Ain't happening this weekend. Sorry, boys.
No, yeah, I love that pick. Texas A&M minus. It is at 8.5 right now, but 8.5.
I'd go up to 10.
I would go up to 10 too. Yeah, me too.
I can't believe it's not up to 10 already. I'm shocked that it's not.
Thank you for reminding me of that because I got to lock it in after tonight's show. But Cyrus, appreciate you coming on, bud. Talking about the Chiefs. If they go 3-0 or if they go 2-1 in the next couple weeks, if they lose one of those games, I have to have you back on to talk about your panic level. Then
we can adjust the panic meter. Then I'm good with that.
All right,
buddy. Take it easy. For whatever reason, I don't know why people like listening to that shit. I guess so. Cool. So, all right. Again, shout out Cyrus for coming on the pod. That panic meter 4 out of 10 seems a little low to me. A little low.
It does. I was honestly expecting some higher, but. That's Chiefs fans for you. That's the confidence they get to have in their team.
I mean, I would too, to be honest with you. I mean,
if I had that offense and that team, I mean, I don't know if I would be panicking yet. Just 2 and 3 through 5 weeks scares me.
Yeah. So we'll have to reassess after 3 weeks. So that'll be the episode. That'll be the first week of November episode, I think. No, the second week of November will be that episode. We'll see where they're at then.
Because me and Jared have a handful of bets. Parlayed with some others and just on their own of the Chiefs winning their division, and I have pretty much just
chalked it up,
threw those tickets out the window. If they hit, cool. If not going to stress out about it.
Yeah. So with that being said, we're gonna do a little bit of fantasy football start sit for you for week 6. The reason why we're doing it now, we haven't done it since week 1, is because it is week 6. It is our first bye week. Teams that are on a bye this week got the Falcons, the Saints, the Niners, and the Jets. So you're like, man, that's not a lot of big.
Well, really, nobody that you would want to start anyway, hardly.
Well, really, I got some key players. Alvin Kamara's on bye. Deebo Samuel, Cordarrelle Patterson, who's been a big fantasy guy this year. Corey Davis and Calvin Ridley. So
Mike Davis, come on.
Okay, Mike Davis, I guess. More Cordarrelle Patterson.
If you're in a 16-man league, you might be starting Mike Davis.
It's funny. I was talking to. Only you'll get this, Travis, but Sean was giving Irby shit. He's like, whoa, you can't start Cordarrelle Patterson in the running back or wide receiver slot. I couldn't do that with Taysom Hill last year.
No joke. He should have to be started in a special position because it's ridiculous. They use him in so many different ways. But anyway.
So some semi-big names, like, if you have Cordarrelle Patterson on your team, that's a big part of your team this year. Alvin Kamara is probably one of your first-round pick. So you need to find some places to plug and play some guys this week to fill those holes. We're only going to focus on running backs and wide receivers because quarterbacks, tight ends, everything else, pretty self-explanatory. I have 2 starts and 2 sits for running backs and wide receivers this weekend. Travis, do you want me to kick it off?
Yeah, you go first.
All right, so we're going to start with running backs. I have a start at running back, and this is pending on an injury, is if the guy who normally starts plays. Samaje Perine for the Cincinnati Bengals. If Joe Mixon is going to be hurt or doubtful or downgraded this week because he's dealing with that lingering injury, the Lions are the worst team. They're playing the Lions this weekend. They're the worst team against fantasy running backs. So keep an eye on Mixon. If you don't think Mixon's going to play, you need someone to fill in for Kamara. Samaje Perine is not a bad play in that flex spot.
All right. Might as well rattle off your other running back too.
My other start is going to be Najee Harris for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's yet to have a huge, big breakout fantasy game, I feel like. But I think it could happen this week. They're playing Seattle. We already talked about it with Cyrus. Seattle's the worst defense in the league. They're 29th against fantasy running backs this year. And I think the Steelers are really going to start to lean on a really run-heavy, running back-heavy system. Big Ben, I don't think he's going to last a full season. So they're going to need to really start leaning on some running backs to carry that offense. I think this is the week they can really kickstart Najee Harris.
You think so?
I think so. I really do. I think I like Najee Harris. I like him coming out of college. I think
He's
he
just been
has
so inconsistent for me. But I mean, you can't really bench him.
no, and like that's what I'm saying. Like this is especially if you have a league where you have Alvin Kamara or somebody like that or a running back, he might be your RB1 this week. I feel comfortable doing that. I would if I had Alvin Kamara. Like be like, yo, let's do Najee RB1 and fill in RB2 with somebody else.
All right. I don't hate that at all. My start this week is going to be Melvin Gordon.
Okay.
They're going against Las Vegas. The Raiders already ranked 25th against the run in the NFL. They let up 134 yards a game. We all know the smothering cloud that's been over them this week. We're not going to dive into that because it's just an absolute mess, and I don't want to add to the confusion of what is being said on social media. But they're a mess. It's in Denver. I think that they're going to need to kind of pull something out of their bag of tricks because letting Teddy Bridgewater throw the ball a lot has not really worked the last couple of weeks. So they're going to need to incorporate Melvin Gordon a little bit more because he's a veteran back. I am not a big fan of Javonte Williams mixing as much as he's been included. So I'd go out on a limb and be a little risky, start Melvin Gordon in your flex.
All right. Well, we have Melvin Gordon in fantasy league that we co-manage, so I'm guessing we're going to ride him.
I guess so.
Well, you said it, so I don't mind that. Melvin Gordon. The problem with Melvin Gordon, he's big, and I like the flex play option there because he's big, touchdown dependent. If Melvin Gordon,
I wouldn't take up a spot like actual running back spot, but if you have him and you're like, should I throw him in my lineup? I don't think it's bad to throw him in your flex.
I don't think so either. I like that play a lot. So do you have another start for us here?
I do, but it's not one that I absolutely love. It's Jonathan Taylor. I don't know how comfortable you are starting him at all in your lineups, but they are playing Houston at home. He did see a lot of work out of the backfield this last week. So I mean, it's basically one of those. If you're running back heavy, it'd be another one of those where I would include him in your lineup. If you're not running back heavy and you have no choice, and it's an obvious. But I like him to do some work this week.
Yeah, Marlon Mack scares me, but apparently Indy's shopping him. Apparently Kansas City called about Marlon Mack.
They wanted to give him some touches last week to increase his value.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's that's the one thing I would say about Jonathan Taylor is that Marlon Mack does scare me a little bit, but it can happen. So let's roll on to our sits. I have a pretty controversial sit right now. This is also kind of pending an injury. Sit Dalvin Cook. I know he's been hurt. He really didn't play much last week. Oh, he didn't play last week. It was Alexander Madison. So even if Dalvin Cook doesn't play this weekend and you have Alexander Madison as a cuff, don't start him either. So sit Cook or Madison, whoever starts. Carolina's the best team against fantasy running backs. And really, Dalvin Cook's been a big, huge letdown. Hasn't shown that he's a first-round back. I would honestly try to trade Dalvin Cook to somebody in your league if you can. If you're in a league that trades future draft picks, try to get something out of him right now because I don't see him having a very productive year.
Yeah, and moving forward, it's kind of a question mark because I know he had that injury early in his career. Then he stayed healthy. Now he's hurt again. And, I mean, they have pretty much the same exact back in Alexander Madison.
Yep.
So you can get way cheaper and get a lot of stuff in return for Dalvin Cook right now. So it's not a bad one at all. Shit. We're on sit. I fucking was all ready.
I got another one.
Yeah, we'll do that. Go.
My second sit at running back is going to be Josh Jacobs for the Raiders. Travis and I have them in that co-managed league we have. Maybe this week as we start Melvin Gordon over Josh Jacobs. Could be it. Broncos are third best against fantasy running backs this year. Raiders, like Travis said, have a big, huge, ominous, dark cloud over that organization. And honestly, it affected them last week. Thank God I had Bears plus 5.5 because it definitely affected them last week. And I can really just kind of see it affecting him the rest of the season. So I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs, sit him this weekend against the Broncos.
All right. My sit is going to be Chase Edmonds or James Conner, whichever one. If you're thinking about starting them, don't. They're going up against the Browns, who are fifth best against running backs in fantasy. And we saw what Justin Herbert did last week against the Browns. I think, if anything, this game will be a shootout. Who can score more? They're going to need to pass the ball a lot. I would sit one of those two guys.
All right. I don't hate that at all. So Chase Edmonds or James Conner. Who's your other one?
My other one is – where'd it go? Told you I was scrolling on my notes and I got all lost. The entire Patriots backfield. Their team's a hot mess right now, and they're going up against the Cowboys, and they're going to be playing from behind probably pretty much the entire game. So I know Damian Harris is like a hot look the last couple of weeks or the last week, not this week.
Okay, so no Damian Harris this week. Don't mind that at all. That pairs well with my first start at wide receiver, Jacoby Myers. Patriots wide receiver is a start. He's clearly a favorite target of Mac Jones. I mean, it seems like he's just getting so much work. Like you said, they're probably going to be playing from behind. Also, Dallas is 26 against opposing wide receivers in fantasy this season. Love Jacoby Myers. We are starting him in our co-owned league. I'm starting him in another league. I think he's a great play.
You don't think Trayvon Diggs is going to shut him down?
No, I really don't. I mean, honestly, Kadarius Toney kind of gave Trayvon Diggs some fits last weekend.
I mean, he definitely did before he decided to haul off and try to punch some dude in the face. Then it blows my mind. How do you think you're going to hurt a guy with your fist with the helmet on?
To this day, I will never understand it. Never understand it.
Regardless of the fact, don't hate that. I'm a rattle in because I think you might steal my first one on this one because I really, really like this. This is an absolute start. It's Chase Claypool.
I did not because you have Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson. Both of them are automatic starts the rest of the season, no matter the matchup.
Yes. I know there's been like question marks around Big Ben, but Juju's done for.
Yeah.
He's out for the foreseeable future. So like Chase
he's out. He's out for the year, bro.
Yeah, they said likely for the year, but it wasn't confirmed. Chase Claypool, on the other hand, he started out strong, then he got hurt. Then he had a huge week last week after Juju went down. He had 130 yards, blah, 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 touchdown. Great. He's pretty much their deep ball guy. Deontay Johnson's going to be the guy they check the ball down to. Anything past 8 yards or more, probably going to Chase Claypool. So you're going to want to start him because we're playing Seattle. And we just talked about Seattle and how bad they were.
There you go. Start the whole fucking Steelers this weekend against Seattle because I see them being on the field a lot. The Steelers offense, that is, because we all know what happened to Russell Wilson. My other start at wide receiver is going to be Cole Beasley for the Buffalo Bills. Titans are the worst team in the league against fantasy wide receivers. And also Beasley popped off, I think, week 2 and week 3, kind of cooled off a bit the last few weeks. I see him having a big night against the Titans. They're Monday Night Football, right? Are they Monday or Sunday night?
Monday night. So I see him having a big night. Like Cole Beasley, definitely a flex play, not a wide receiver 2 or anything like that. But I think he's worth a start if you got him. Don't hate that. It kind of hurts mine, but at the same time doesn't because you're likely not going to have both of these same guys on your team because mine's Emmanuel Sanders.
Okay.
He saw the end zone twice.
Yep. Twice.
He's kind of emerged back again. Kind of looks like what he did in his days when he was in Denver. Josh Allen doesn't really have like that many like quote unquote weapons. Like, yeah, Cole Beasley isn't bad, but everyone
Stephon Diggs, bro.
No, I know, but I'm saying like outside of Stephon Diggs because everyone's targeting Stephon Diggs. Like if you look, he's kind of been shut down for a lot this year. So Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders are starts because they're going against Titans, and we just said you can drive on them so fast.
Yep, love that. I like that a lot. Emmanuel Sanders had him in my DFS lineup, Travis, in that thing we play in, and I rearranged some shit at the last minute, pulled him out, and I hated myself for it because that would have been huge.
Big mistake.
My first sit at wide receiver for this weekend is going to be A.J. Brown for Tennessee.
I knew it. I knew that was coming.
I mean, it's easy. Buffalo is the best team against fantasy wide receivers this year. And also, A.J. Brown has yet to surpass 50 receiving yards in a game. Tennessee's offense 1,000% runs through Derrick Henry and Derrick Henry alone. And they're going to continue to rely on that. So A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, I don't give a fuck who it is for Tennessee, sit them.
If you weren't able to watch the game on Monday night and watch how much the Bills shut down
Sunday night, but yeah.
Sunday night. Shut down the deep ball versus Kansas City. They run 2 deep safeties. It just shows how much better their defense has gotten over this last year. So whatever they can do to attack A.J. Brown, because obviously that's their go-to guy, they're going to shut it down.
Also, Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde might be the best safety tandem in the NFL, to be honest with you.
They are phenomenal, but they've been good for a couple of years now. It's just like I feel like they're finally starting to like become that.
They're getting the recognition that they deserve.
Yeah, they're going to be that elite for the foreseeable future.
Yep.
My sit this week is Chris Godwin. Thursday night football, so they're running on a little bit short of a week. They're going against the Eagles defense, who is 4th in terms of. Is that right?
Yeah.
No, it's not right. Is it? I don't know. Either way, Eagles defense.
They're good. They are actually 5th.
5th. Okay. So they're not bad in terms of letting up points to wide receivers. Meanwhile,
six actually. Sorry, 6, but it doesn't matter.
Wherever you look, it might be a little bit different, but they're pretty solid against fantasy wide receivers. And you're going against the Buccaneers who have just a plethora of people to throw to. And it doesn't seem like Chris Godwin's been getting the attention that he has gotten from Tom Brady Tom Brady last year. And then whoever the fuck was their quarterback the year before.
Jameis Winston.
So he's going to Antonio Brown a lot more. They really developed a connection. Mike Evans is seeing a lot more success in actually catching the ball this year instead of dropping.
Any tight end in that offense.
And then, any tight end. Chris Godwin, I would give him a sit this week against the Eagles on primetime.
Yeah, I mean, they played the Dolphins last week. I don't remember Chris Godwin going off. Antonio Brown and Cameron Brate destroyed us. I don't hate that pick at all because I definitely see him kind of being honestly the 3rd or 4th option in that offense. And against an Eagles defense, short week, don't mind that at all. My other sit is going to be literally any Dolphins wide receiver.
Just the Dolphins.
Just because, Myles Gaskin fucking went off last week.
That is true.
Finally,
it's funny because like Yahoo and all these other apps told everyone to sit him.
Yeah. So any Dolphins wide receiver. The reason being is because A, Devontae Parker's probably coming back, and B, Tua's coming back this week. We don't know how that's going to look. Yes, they are. And people are going to look at it because the reason why I put that in here, normally I wouldn't because it's kind of a duh, but they're playing the Jags. People are like, okay, it's the Jags. Don't be baited into it because Preston Williams came back last week, and I think that's going to be a point on the offense where Tua is going to spread the ball around like he likes to do. Gesicki, Preston Williams, Devontae Parker, Myles Gaskin, who's the other guy? I don't even remember. Albert Wilson. So just avoid them because even though it is a favorable matchup, we don't know how the ball is going to be distributed. Kind of like what Travis said with Chris Godwin.
Yeah, I like that one because right now the Dolphins can't move the ball for anything.
Yep.
So I would absolutely sit anyone on the Dolphins. My sit is going to be Adam Thielen playing against the Panthers.
Haven't heard his name at all this year.
That's what I'm saying. He did have a couple good weeks to start the season, but the last 2 weeks he has had, tell you, in half-point PPR, 6.1 and 5 points total. He's only had 3 catches and 2 catches with 0 touchdowns in both those games. We were shitting on the Panthers earlier this episode, but their defense is phenomenal. They have Jeremy Chin. They have C.J. Henderson. They just got Stephon Gilmore. So they have all these pieces to help defend Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, all them. I feel like of the two, Adam Thielen's a lot easier to lock down than Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard Thielen's name all year long, so I definitely like that play a lot. So definitely want to give you – so if you have one of the players on a bye, like I mentioned, Kamara, Cordarrelle Patterson, Corey Davis, Calvin Ridley, any of those guys that are on a bye, take a look at some of these guys, and if you have them on your team, maybe plug them and play them. But with that being said, let's roll into Degenerates Digest for the week. And we're going to we're going to go back to our normal format because that format we did last week where we ranked the games and did 6 through 10 was terrible. Mine opposite picks went 1-4. Travis's went 0-4-1.
Apparently, Vegas got killed last week, though.
They did. I was going to say, yeah, the guys that we got it from sent us an article. Vegas got absolutely crushed. So he said it was literally the worst week. I'm going to do it again on my own. I'm not going to bet it, but I'm doing it on the side. I actually have them ranked right here on my little notepad, and I'm going to see how they perform. I ranked my top 10 spreads in the NFL. Let's see how it goes this weekend.
It's funny that Vegas got crushed because sure shit wasn't from us.
I didn't do terrible.
We didn't do bad, but we didn't kill it.
No, I mean,
see,
but you take 500,000 people that did what we did, and that's a bad weekend for
That's
Vegas.
what I'm saying. You take your bettors that aren't super experienced and they get slaughtered.
Yeah. So we're gonna go back to normal format. Thursday, we're gonna do all the primetime games. We're gonna throw in the London game, give you a lock, upset, and a couple college picks if some of our locks and upsets aren't college picks. Thursday night, it's Bucks. You see on the ticker down there if you're watching on YouTube. Bucks at Eagles. Bucks are 6.5-point favorites. The over/under is 52.5.
Is it 6.5? Where'd you get 6.5?
DraftKings.
Okay, well that even so, if you're betting on DraftKings and FanDuel, buying the half point, we're going to allow ourselves to do that from now on.
I mean, I always say that. I always say that on Patreon. I always say if you can buy the half wherever you bet, buy it.
Because there's on DraftKings always there's the alternate spread where you can go like freaking 10 points above and 10 points below.
Yep.
Regardless of what the odds are. So 6.5, that makes mine even better. I was going to do Bucks -7, but I'm going to do Bucks -6.5.
I also like Bucks -6.5 as well. It just feels like an easy game for me.
I know it's a road. It's that road favorite. But at the same time, what that I just talked about, the Bucks have so many weapons that the Eagles don't. And while I'm just not that fond of the Eagles, I think the Bucks just go in and slap it. Get it done.
I do too. I mean, the Bucks are really. I think this is their stretch of the schedule where they're going to turn it on. They had that loss to the Rams where everyone's like, "Oh my God, is this their turning point? Are they going to fall off?" I don't think that's the case. I'm going to look up the against the spread right now too. Because right now we're trying to gather some data.
They're both 2-3 against spread.
Okay.
My thing, and a big part of the reason that I love this pick a lot is that the Bucks are allowing 45 rushing yards a game.
Yep.
You're going to have to force Jalen Hurts to throw the ball a lot, which if the Bucks have somewhat of their secondary patched up and everyone's not hurt, you're not going to get very far throwing against this defense a lot.
Yeah.
Especially with Jalen Hurts.
So like Travis said, they're both 2-3 against the spread. I was trying to find some data like, what are they as a favorite? What are they as an underdog? This is the same because the Bucks have been favored in every game this year, and the Eagles have been underdogs in every game this year, which is kind of crazy. So no really data. It's a gut pick for me. I'll probably do.
I know the Eagles defense isn't that bad. It's just the fact that the Bucks offense is that much better.
They're finally utilizing Leonard Fournette in that backfield like they should. Leonard Fournette's the lead back there. Ronald Jones, he comes in and gets some fresh legs. He can come in on a second or third down when Fournette's tired and get 6-7 yards. I mean, it's just there's like you said, there's so many weapons there. And also this will be Richard Sherman's third game. And that defense, I think he's going to start to find his groove too. I also have Bucks -6.5. I'm going to do like probably unit and a half on it. So that's going to be the Thursday night pick. Let's roll into Sunday. We have an early game, an 8:30 kick in the Central Time Zone, another London game. We got the Dolphins at the Jags. Dolphins are 3.5, 3-point favorites, depending on where you look. And the over-under is 47.5. This one's a little bit leery for me to bet, but it's hard for me not to want to bet the Dolphins because the Jags are terrible.
It is. And I know that the cloud cover has shifted to the Vegas, but there's still kind of that hatred in the Jags locker room for Urban Meyer. Then you got to think that they got to fly all the way across the damn world with this guy in a plane. And it's just not going to sit well. The 3.5 I don't like. I would take it at 3.
Yep.
I know it's going to be the odds are going to be worse, obviously, but you almost have to, especially with how bad both these teams are playing right now. I'm going to have to take Dolphins -3, and it's not a homer pick. It's just the fact that the Jaguars' defense is that bad, and their potential is not there. You could say that the Dolphins' defense is bad, but the talent is there.
Yeah, also the Dolphins' first 5 games were a fucking gauntlet, too. I mean, we had to play Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Vegas, and Indianapolis, which really you look at Indianapolis like, oh my God, Indianapolis 1-4. They are not bad. Like that's a gauntlet of a schedule.
They're still probably they're not gonna finish season well, but they're not a bad football team.
No, so
you can also say the same against Jacksonville. I mean, they played Tennessee and Arizona, Cincinnati, who's got a winning record, but a lot of the games are coming from behind here.
Yeah, I think so too. I also like the Dolphins minus. Get it at 3, but then you're like, well, what's the difference between 3.5? Like, okay, if they win by 3, at least you push. And then if they win by 4, you win. But they're like, hey, I would have won at 3.5. They won at 4. Cool, you would have. But there's that if they win by 3, you push. So
yeah, like there is value in buying it down or taking money line from these small spreads. It's basically how comfortable you are doing it. I mean, you're going to lose out on money, but you feel pretty damn stupid if you lose on a half point.
Yep, exactly. So both like the Dolphins -3. You can catch our units later on in the week on the Patreon. We'll put out our units like on our confidence levels. Sunday night, we got a snoozer that I will 1,000% be missing. Seahawks with the backup quarterback in Geno Smith, although shout out Geno Smith, he balled out last weekend when he came in. At the Steelers, Seahawks at Steelers on Sunday night. Steelers are 5-point favorites, and the over-under is 42.5. Hate this spread, and I said it tonight. We bet on a college football game tonight. That's at 5. I am taking the Seahawks +5 here. This screams backdoor cover.
I can't do it. I can't. Geno Smith, I know we showed out at the end of last week, but Pittsburgh's defense is finally putting it all back together again. I think it's going to be hard for them to sustain a drive of run, pass, run, pass. I feel like the only reason Geno was able to get in the groove last weekend was because he got so many opportunities to just pass the ball. If he's running it and they have 2 successful run plays, but they got to pass on 3rd down, I don't think he hits that target, especially against Pittsburgh. Yeah. It's just kind of what I'm feeling. I think Pittsburgh's finally gaining steam, and they got to beat the shit out of somebody, and I think it's coming.
Yeah, this will honestly be a game I stay away from, to be honest with you. Like, this is when I rank my spreads, this was number 9 for me.
I don't love it at all, but it is a primetime game, so we're gonna steer you guys because those are most fun to bet sometimes.
We'll look at tackle props in that one. TJ Watt's tackle prop.
Yeah, that'd be a big one. That'd be solid. So Jarrett likes Seattle. I like Pittsburgh. So
Seattle +5, Pittsburgh -5. Yeah, do whatever you want. On that one, catch more, like I said, more analysis. Tackle props will probably be a big one for that game because we're 9-1 on those on the year on the Patreon. So Monday Night Football, a big matchup. You got the Bills in the prime time for the second weekend in a row. Bills at the Titans. Bills are -5.5, and the over-under is 53.5. Again, another spread that I don't love, but it's hard not to take the Bills here.
It is. I mean,
or the over.
It's screaming a game that just is not going to cover for the Bills just because it's like 5.5 on the road, prime time. The Titans aren't a bad team. They just have yet to show me that they can stop anything. And with how well the Bills played, everyone's going to be on the Bills.
Yeah, Buffalo's 4-1 against the spread. Tennessee is 3-2, so they're not terrible. Everyone is going to be on the Bills. This is going to be one where I'm going to have to wait and pull out my whole rigmarole that I did on Monday night. And by the way, guys, we did this last night on the Colts-Ravens game. 93% of the money in Vegas was on Ravens -7. So Travis and I took Colts +7, and it fucking cashed. By a goddamn point, but it cashed.
They were probably like, man, we got to make some of our money back that we lost on the weekend. Vegas was.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like I would feel so dumb if I bet on the Titans and they just get steamrolled.
Yeah, which is almost why I'm saying like this 5.5 spread is strange. I don't like the 5.5s. I don't like anything. And I told Travis before, time and time again, I feel comfortable betting stuff for anything 4.5, 5.5 is. I'm just like feel like that's more of a toss up than a 2 or 3 point spread.
You know what it is too. And then I'm gonna go on a different game. I'm gonna say this game this weekend, which I was gonna make my lock but I'm not because I feel like it's a trap game. It's the Cowboys at Patriots, and the Cowboys are only 4-point favorites.
Yep.
Why?
And on the road in New England.
I don't care why.
Yeah.
The Cowboys should be 7-point favorites.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Especially after what the Patriots did in Houston last weekend. On this Monday night game, though, if you're forcing me right now to make a pick, I'll have to do more analysis later because we don't put out our Monday picks on the Patreon until Monday morning.
A lot can change.
I'm actually gonna, if I'm leaning this side right here, I'm gonna say the over at 53.5. I like that.
Even against the Bills?
I mean, that Chiefs game the other night was 58 points. The Titans can't stop a damn thing. So I can see the Chiefs or the Bills putting up 30, 40 points, and I can see the Titans putting up, mid to high 20s. So,
yeah, this would be a game though with a bad defense that I might take a receiving prop on the Bills side on, maybe like an Emmanuel Sanders or something.
Yeah, so I'm gonna lean the over for now. Travis is gonna abstain. It's just we want to talk about him, and we'll obviously put out more firm picks. Because, like we said, that's 6 days from now when we record. A lot can change between now and then. I want to look at like where the public money's heading because that's a big stat that I've been focused on a lot. And when I put out our write-ups on Patreon, I kind of include that data because I feel like you always want to go against where the public's going, especially when
it's really heavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's like anything under like 70%, it's kind of like meh. If it's over 70%, you're like, it's kind of tough because Vegas doesn't like to lose big. Obviously, you're not gonna catch that on some games, but
like I said last night, Ravens 93% of the money was on them. I'm like, Travis, we have to take the Colts.
They're not going to lose a game.
Yeah,
93% of their bets, they're not going to lose that.
No. So, all right. So that's the primetime games. All the games you guys can watch on nationally televised televisions. We'll roll in. We'll wrap up this thing. Not too quick, but want to give you our lock, our upset, and a few college picks because both my lock and my upset are both NFL games. You guys already heard my upset. It's the Chargers at the Ravens, money line plus 130. I think they get it done. The Ravens have been starting too slow this year, and they're not going to go start like slow like they did last week or against the Colts, against the Chargers. So Travis got the wrong paper. But yeah, that's my upset of the week is going to be the Chargers plus 130 at the Ravens money line. I also like them plus 3, obviously, too. So definitely check that out. Like I said, Ravens just been starting too slow. And if you get down to the Chargers, like the Ravens got down to the Colts on Monday Night Football this past week, it ain't going to be pretty. So that's going to be my upset. Waiting on Travis to come back, trying to kind of buy in some time here, which I'll roll into my locked in as well while I'm waiting on Travis. So upset Chargers plus 130. My lock, Cyrus, we were talking about the spread with Cyrus. I think I said it was my locked in. I like Kansas City -7. Might want to buy them down to -6.5 just to be safe. But I do like Kansas City -7, -6.5, wherever you want to feel comfortable getting it at against Washington. I think they come back and have a big week after this big letdown game against the Bills. So
that's your lock?
That's my lock is Kansas City. Yep.
Oh, boy.
Yep. I do like it a lot. You took too long. I was fucking rambling here for a second. So I
lost my paper.
I gave my upset. It's Chargers plus 130 against the Ravens. And then my lock is Kansas City -7, -6.5. If you want to buy it down to 6.5, you can against Washington. So I'll let you give your lock and upset, and then we'll roll into a couple college picks.
My lock and my upset are both college picks.
There you go. Your locks. Well, we know your locks Texas A&M -8.5.
Yes, that is my lock.
Against Missouri, by the way. So
actually, no, I do like that a lot. I'm not going to make that my lock though, just because we talked about that so much.
I'll say, yeah, Texas A&M. Well, if it's your Travis, you're giving out your lock because you're sure about that pick. Like, if it's your lock, just make it your lock. Like, don't fucking force a lock.
No,
Like you can give out a couple other picks, Travis. We're gonna give out a few other college picks.
fine.
So you have the same. Just keep it there. Write it. Write it. Don't fucking force something. Quit doing that shit.
I'm not forcing it. It's just like
You're like, oh well, we already talked about it. Cyrus said it, so I gotta do something different. No, if that's your lock, that's your lock, homie.
But I have a couple of the picks I really like. I'll roll into my next one.
Your lock? No. What is your upset? Give us your upset first.
Oh shit!
I have to control the show. You're making it go off the rails here.
Hey, I like to go off the rails sometimes. My upset of the week is a late game on Saturday, and it is UCLA Moneyline.
Love that pick. That's on my card too.
UCLA on the road against Washington is 2-3, 1-4 against the spread. Yes, it's only plus 105 right now, even money, but still, that's value out the ass. UCLA coming off a big win against Arizona. I know Arizona blows, but their only losses are to Fresno, which me and Jarrett both are on that wagon, and Arizona State, who is now currently ranked. Washington, on the other hand, coming off of a loss to Oregon State. They're not very good. So I'm going UCLA all day long here.
Love that pick. UCLA is on my card as well. That'll be on the Patreon. I like that pick. Money line and spread there. So big time upset. Your lock's A&M minus 8.5. I got A&M is also on my. I have three college picks I was going to give you guys tonight. In addition to what we normally, because we give out like 15 picks on Saturday on the Patreon. But A&M was also on my card at minus 8.5. Travis, you said you had another one you really liked. What's another college game you like a lot?
Another college game I like a lot is Rutgers -2 at Northwestern. So if you haven't been following college football a whole lot, you'd know that Northwestern is not the team that they once were for the last few years. Their defense has significantly gone downhill. They're allowing 27 points a game, and their offense really isn't that good, scoring 22. Rutgers flip-flops those numbers. They score 27, allow 22. I was able to watch them last weekend when they played Michigan State, and they kind of gave them a run for their money a little bit. Their quarterback, Noah Vedral, I believe is his name, how you say that. He's a runner. He can run a lot. I think he's going to give this Northwestern team problems, who allows 234 rushing yards per game.
Jeez.
So I'm going to go Rutgers -2 here.
Don't hate that. Again, though, slim road favorite.
It is, but it's a team who has been decent versus a team who has just been dog shit all year.
True. Another college game I like is I think it's a later game. I'm not really sure when it is. I didn't write the times. It's Texas Tech at Kansas. Texas Tech's -16.5. That's who I'm taking. Simple stat here. Kansas is 0-5 against the spread. They're fucking terrible. Texas Tech's going to roll them.
All right. You heard it there. I got two more. One of mine is Eastern Michigan.
Hate this pick. I liked it initially, and then I looked at it more, and I don't like it anymore.
Why?
You tell me why, and I'll tell you why I don't like it. I looked at it some more, and I can't remember why. Because what I do is on Monday night before I go to bed, I look at everything for the next week. Because if the week's over, I gotta have something to look forward to.
Yeah, I do too, and I just could not pick this. Eastern Michigan, they're home underdogs, a 4-2 team that is home underdogs. So that is one of the reasons I already like it. Then you look at Ball State. They started out the season very, very poorly.
They played Penn State, Wyoming, and Toledo. So
Wyoming and Toledo.
Toledo took Notre Dame to the brink. Toledo's a good team.
I don't think so. I don't think they're that great.
And then you look at Eastern Michigan's coming off a 13-12 win over Miami, Ohio.
Yeah, but that's fine. Ball State is averaging 319 yards on offense. They're allowing 401. That something doesn't add up there to me. I don't like it. I'm going to take the home team here. I'm not giving you guys my best picks on this podcast. You have to pay for my best picks. So I'm giving you picks that I'm leaning and I like, but I'm not going to give you my best ones.
Yeah, I looked at that first. 73% of the money right now is on Ball State -1.5 too. So
There you go. See? What do we say?
follow the opposite of where big money's at over 70%.
Home team, very, very, very slim.
I had that on my because like I go through all the whole schedule. I'm like, what do I like? What don't I like? I put down my notepad and then I trim it down. That was on there this morning. It got trimmed down this evening. You may have swayed me to take it. And if it loses, I'm going to punch you in the face because you've really fucking swayed me in some bad college bets over the last couple weeks.
I don't hear
it. I have one more. LSU +10 at Florida.
Hate it.
Nah.
Coach O's getting fired after this year.
I don't care.
I'm just kidding. I don't hate it. I just hate LSU. I think they're severely overhyped every year.
They are, but 10 points is a lot in a rivalry game that happens every single year.
What kind of game is it?
A rivalry game. Rivalry game.
That's what I hear you say it.
Rivalry game. Rivalry
you usually
game.
fuck it up. It's funny.
Yeah, I usually say rivalry.
I don't hate it that much. My next one is like one that I just keep wanting to take the opposite, but I'm going to take this way because I think it's going to fuck a lot of people up because that's how dumb the public is at betting. I'm taking Tennessee +3 at home against Ole Miss. I'm doing it.
Low amount of units I would do it, but I don't love that at all.
Yeah, I told you I'm not giving the favorite picks here. I'm giving 1 unit picks here outside of my lock. Basically outside of my lock, I'm giving 1 unit picks.
Yeah.
Tennessee, I mean, usually they're a team that comes in, they're overhyped, but they got Hendon Hooker, transfer quarterback, and he has really been a game changer here for Tennessee. Like he really has. They're averaging 474 yards a game. Their defense is solid. They allow 344. On the other hand, Ole Miss scores a lot, but they let up a ton. I think it's going to come down. It's going to be Ole Miss is kind of like the Chiefs this year. Like it's going to come down to whoever can make that last stop of the game. I think it's going to be Tennessee at home +3. I don't know. Something's just telling me that I like it. Number 13 team in the country, go on the road and get upset.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. +3, they don't have
You always tell me I'm too favorite heavy. So I like this.
You are too favorite heavy. No, I don't hate that at all.
I just took 2 underdogs in a row at home. Home dogs.
Who's your? Oh yeah, EMU.
Eastern Michigan.
Yeah. No, I mean I don't mind the pick. And again, +3, they don't have to win. They could lose by 2 or 1 or whatever the fuck it is. I mean, Ole Miss just won by 1 this past weekend. So
at home to Arkansas, yeah.
It could happen.
I mean, I don't know. Someone's telling me that a big game like that coming off a high.
Okay.
Well,
there it is. We gave you a lot this week picks wise. Some fantasy football starts sit. Some Chiefs talk. We'll have to reassess this after 3 weeks and see if Cyrus's panic meter was
it's definitely
accurate
too
or not.
low.
If they go 3-0, I don't think it was too low. But
that's easy to say.
Yeah, I know. With that being said, we'll wrap this thing up. It's going a little long. I got some editing to do because we had a lot of fucking technical issues tonight. Episode 137. Subscribe wherever you listen. Check out the Patreon, the full card. And now we got hockey starting up. We got basketball starting up. Probably won't start putting out a lot of plays on that until we start getting some more data, probably around this time next week, which is when you start to see some hockey plays and the following probably basketball plays. But going to have all that stuff coming up now that baseball's ending. So have fun. Subscribe to the Patreon and take it easy.
Peace.